What if I told you there's a place in the Nevada desert so secret, so heavily guarded, that the US government denied its existence for decades? A place surrounded by motion sensors, armed patrols, and a no-fly zone so strict that even military pilots are warned to stay away. This place is real. It's called Area 51. Some say it's where alien spacecraft are kept. Others believe it's the testing ground for weapons and technologies so advanced they seem impossible. People have claimed to see lights zigzagging through the sky, faster than any known aircraft, and a few have risked everything to get close and were never seen again. What is really going on behind those fences? Why so much secrecy? And could the truth be even stranger than the myths? If you're into mysteries like this, make sure to subscribe. Here we reveal everything no one else dares to talk about. It all began in the heat of the Cold War. In 1955, as tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union reached a boiling point, the CIA needed a remote, isolated location to test its latest spy plane, the U-2. They chose a dried-up lake bed in the Nevada desert, far from civilization, and gave it a name that sounded deliberately vague, Area 51. But from the start, something felt off. Maps didn't show the base. Civilian pilots were told to avoid the airspace without explanation. Workers were flown in and out daily, never allowed to talk about where they had been. Officially, it didn't even exist. For years, it was simply known as the ranch. The secrecy was intense, even by military standards. During the U-2 project, the government often explained UFO sightings as weather balloons, while quietly pushing the boundaries of what was technologically possible. Aircraft that could fly at 70,000 feet were unheard of. To civilians, they looked like something from another world. Over time, the rumors started: strange lights in the sky, unmarked helicopters, stories of reverse engineering alien craft. And yet, the government said nothing. Denial became their default answer. Even photos taken by satellites were censored. It was as if the entire region had been swallowed by silence. And that silence only made people more curious. By the 1980s, Area 51 was no longer just a military base. It had become a symbol, a magnet for conspiracy theorists, ufologists, and truth-seekers. Pop culture exploded with references: movies, TV shows, books. The idea that the US might be hiding extraterrestrial technology in plain sight fascinated and terrified millions. But here's the strange part. For nearly 60 years, no official statement ever confirmed its existence. It wasn't until 2013 that declassified documents finally admitted, yes, Area 51 is real. Yes, top-secret aircraft were tested there. But the rest, still classified. Why keep a location secret for so long? What were they really hiding out there in the desert? And if the official story was only revealed decades later, how much more do we still not know? Imagine a place so secret that for nearly 6 decades, the government pretended it didn't exist. While rumors swirled and satellite images clearly showed a base in the Nevada desert, US officials refused to acknowledge anything called Area 51. Journalists were stonewalled. FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests were denied. The airspace was restricted, the land heavily guarded, and the government's answer was always the same: there's nothing there. It wasn't until 2013, after years of pressure and leaked documents, that the CIA finally released a report admitting the existence of the base. But even then, they only referred to it in the context of Cold War spy plane testing. No aliens, no UFOs, no mention of the bizarre stories that had become legend. But here's the question: if it really was just a test site for airplanes, why deny it for over 50 years? Let's go back to 1947. Roswell, New Mexico. A supposed flying saucer crashes. The military arrives. Wreckage is removed. Witnesses are silenced. And the official explanation: a weather balloon. But some believe that Roswell's debris and possibly even alien bodies, were transported to Area 51 for examination. While this has never been confirmed, what we do know is that the base has long been used to test next-generation aircraft, like the U-2, the SR-71 Blackbird, and the F-117 Nighthawk. Planes so advanced they appeared otherworldly to anyone who saw them. So when civilians spotted glowing lights, silent aircraft hovering, or shapes darting across the sky, were they seeing UFOs? Or was it cutting-edge human technology, decades ahead of its time? And if those were just the prototypes we know about, what might they be testing today? In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar went on live television and said the unthinkable. He had worked inside Area 51, specifically in a subsection called S4. According to Lazar, he had been hired to help reverse engineer alien spacecraft. He described 9 different saucer-shaped crafts, gravity-manipulating engines, and a power source unknown to modern science. The world was stunned, but the backlash was immediate. Government records showed no employment history. His educational credentials from MIT and Caltech couldn't be verified. Skeptics called him a fraud. Yet, certain details he gave, like the internal bus system used to transport employees or the location and layout of the facility, matched later satellite images almost perfectly. Was he telling the truth? Or was he a brilliant fabricator feeding into mass hysteria? Even today, Lazar sticks to his story, and millions believe him. Above Area 51 is one of the most forbidden zones in the entire planet's airspace. It's called R4808N, but pilots have another name for it, the box. Not even military aircraft are allowed to enter it without high-level clearance. Commercial flights are rerouted miles away, and if a plane does stray too close, they're met by military jets quickly and aggressively. Some pilots have reported being threatened with losing their license for even mentioning a near approach. Why such extreme measures for a supposedly simple test site? In a world where air traffic is tightly monitored but mostly transparent, Area 51 remains an opaque void, a blank spot on the map where even birds seem to fly more carefully. Every weekday, unmarked white planes with a single red stripe take off from a hidden terminal at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas. These flights, operated by a classified airline nicknamed Janet, are how Area 51's workers get to their jobs. There are no boarding passes, no flight numbers, no flight plans filed with public systems. The employees are sworn to secrecy. They don't talk about where they go. They don't talk about what they do. Some former workers have said they couldn't even tell their spouses where they worked for decades. Imagine commuting every day to a place that doesn't exist, knowing that what you see or touch could never be discussed again. What kind of work demands that level of silence? Rumors have always surrounded Area 51, but some go beyond aliens. Much further, there are whispers of energy weapons being tested, beams that can disable electronics or melt armor. Others speak of optical camouflage technology that can render an object nearly invisible. Some even claim work on anti-gravity propulsion, the kind of tech that could rewrite the laws of physics as we know them. While there's no public evidence of these systems being fully operational, patents, leaked documents, and statements from aerospace insiders suggest that something beyond conventional science is being explored out there. Could Area 51 be the frontier of a technological revolution hidden in plain sight? In 2019, what started as a joke on Facebook spiraled into something the US government took very seriously. A meme event titled "Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us" invited people to rush the base in search of aliens. Over 2 million people RSVP'd. What followed was a frenzy. Memes, news coverage, panic from officials, and an unexpected gathering in the Nevada desert. The Air Force issued stern warnings, signs were reinforced, roads were blocked. But when the day came, only a few dozen showed up at the gates, some in costume, some just curious. No one actually crossed the fence. But make no mistake, the government's reaction proved just how seriously they take that perimeter. it was just a meme, or was it a wake-up call? Just a few miles from Area 51 sits Rachel, Nevada, a desolate town with a population of barely 50 people and a vibe that feels straight out of a sci-fi movie. Locals speak in hushed tones. Tourists arrive in droves, hoping to spot a UFO or just feel the energy. The town's only bar, the Little Alien, is covered in alien memorabilia. But behind the kitsch, there's a quiet unease. Some residents claim to have seen strange crafts hovering in the sky. Others talk of bizarre noises, flashing lights, or unmarked vehicles patrolling the outskirts at night. Is Rachel just a quirky desert stop, or a community living in the shadow of something truly otherworldly? In the age of Google Earth, when almost every inch of the planet is visible with a few clicks, Area 51 remains curiously obscured. For years, high-resolution satellite imagery of the base was missing or blurred. When photos did surface, certain structures appeared. Strange, long, unmarked hangars, tracks that seemed to lead nowhere, even underground entrances, according to some analysts. Some say the government worked with satellite companies to avoid exposing details. Others believe parts of the facility extend deep beneath the desert, far beyond what any camera in the sky could see. So if satellites can't reveal what's inside, what could they possibly be hiding? Here's the most chilling theory of all. What if everything we know about Area 51 is just smoke and mirrors? Some believe the real secret facilities were moved long ago, possibly to places like Dugway Proving Ground in Utah, or even deep beneath the ocean. In this theory, Area 51 remains in the spotlight on purpose, a lightning rod for conspiracy, keeping eyes away from where the real secrets are now stored. After all, if everyone is watching the front door, who's guarding the back? If this kind of story hooks you like it does us, hit the like button and drop a comment. What's the one thing about Area 51 that blew your mind the most? By now, we've uncovered secrecy, strange aircraft, and theories that stretch the limits of imagination. But here's the twist. The most disturbing part of Area 51 might not be what's inside, but what we'll never be allowed to know. Over the years, a few brave individuals have claimed to work there and left with chilling stories. One spoke of underground labs testing biological entities not of this world. Another described time distortion, experiments that sounded more like science fiction than science. We may never know how much of it is real, but here's what is confirmed. Several workers sued the US government in the 1990s for toxic exposure at the base. They claimed that chemicals were burned in open pits, leading to severe illness and even death. But the government's response: they said the base didn't exist. Therefore, the case was dismissed. Think about that. People may have died, and the only defense was, there is no Area 51. The implications are staggering. What level of secrecy allows this kind of immunity? What else could be happening behind closed, classified doors? Let's push the boundary even further. In 2004, the New York Times reported that defense contractors were working on non-lethal weapons designed to manipulate human perception, devices that could trigger confusion, panic, or hallucinations. Some documents even mentioned electromagnetic pulses that could immobilize enemies without a trace. Now imagine those technologies perfected, tested, deployed. And imagine a facility far from the public eye with no oversight, where those experiments could continue indefinitely. Could Area 51 be more than just a military base? Could it be a laboratory for the future, one not bound by ethics, law, or even physics as we understand them? We may never get real answers. But sometimes the absence of information says more than 1,000 documents ever could. So let's return to that original question. Why does a place in the middle of the desert need that much secrecy? Why deny it for over half a century? Why silence workers, block satellites, and patrol the skies as if the fate of the world depended on it? Is it because of alien technology, advanced weapons, or something so unexplainable that even the government doesn't fully understand it. Maybe Area 51 isn't just a location. Maybe it's a symbol of how far humanity is willing to go to protect its secrets, and how little we're told about the things that shape our future. Because here's the truth. Every time a new theory is debunked, a new one rises. Every time someone says, "That's just a myth," another voice whispers, "But what if it's not?" And so, the mystery grows. What if there are other places like Area 51, hidden, unmarked, unknown, where the lines between science, defense, and the impossible blur into something terrifyingly real? Would we even want to know? If you made it this far, you're clearly one of the curious ones. So don't forget to subscribe and tell us in the comments what was the most shocking part of this story for you. Until next time, stay curious.